RFK Jr. starting some beef with CNN, tallow and all, after a reporter claimed his $20 meal costs over $70 at checkout. But it wasn't exactly an apples-to-apples comparison. Watch.
When we started buying ingredients used in the show, even going for the lowest prices at a big competitive chain, the cost heated up fast.
Look at this. This is the avocado mayonnaise. They priced this at 40 cents because they were only using a couple of tablespoons. To buy the whole thing cost us more than $11. They're only pricing parts of it. And grocery stores don't sell things that way.
Kennedy firing back on X saying, quote, CNN wants us to incorporate the full package price of every ingredient, regardless of what is used in the recipe. If you put a squirt of ketchup on your burger, would you be surprised if the restaurant charged you for the whole bottle, Greg?
This is so classic media. It's a classic media trope. Strategic stupidity, deliberate ignorance. They pretend not to understand or deliberately misread the mechanism or logic of an action. And then we always have to explain it to them. They do this with immigration all the time. They act puzzled when sanctuary policies or reduced deportations lead to more illegal crossings. It's like, oh, enforcement doesn't work. Oh, I don't know what you mean. And how long did they pretend not to know that male athletes have an advantage over females? Wait, you're telling me that they have more muscle mass? I didn't know. Yes, you knew that. And they're hoping we don't have to explain it. It's the same thing with no cash bail, being shocked that creates recidivism. Look, it could be that CNN is full of people who don't cook dinner. They simply order from DoorDash or Uber Eats, which they'll dump $70 to $200 easy a night. Meanwhile, any regular family is going to tell you one night at DoorDash can supply ingredients for a week of meals. And you know RFK is not a delivery guy. He likes to kill, cook, and eat, hopefully in that order. But see, the thing is, we knew what he meant. We knew he was talking about the price on portions and servings of ingredients, not the entire package. But CNN couldn't do that story. The only way CNN could do that story was deliberate ignorance. They are so foul. That's why no one wants to eat with them.
And the point was for Americans to eat healthy. And they're trying to be anti-Americans eating healthy.
Yeah, I think that camp is squarely in there's no better illustration than these group of people who sit in their tiny apartments and get DoorDash and then type up these stories and voice over them so dramatically, thinking that they gotcha. Oh, I got it. It was avocado mayonnaise. It cost $8. The majority of Americans, first of all, are way too busy to be watching that ridiculous show. And they're also way too busy providing for their families. And in every kitchen across America, they know exactly what's in their cupboard. They know how much it all costs, and they know how to read a recipe. These are the same kind of people that need a TikTok video to explain how to cook something instead of going to their family and learning what actually works. They're the same family, by the way, are the same people that have the luxury of not having to stretch things out, of not having to look at price tags or maybe look at the sales. So the vast majority of Americans know what RFK Jr. meant. They know what eating healthy is, and they are grateful for him saying, yeah, this is how we can implement what is such a healthier situation. By the way, the numbers have been reflecting that. So the purchase of whole foods has increased 7% and processed foods has gone way down. You would think there's an interest in CNN and saying, you know what? Great job.
What's better, Jessica, government-run grocery stores or cook your own healthy food?
Those are not my only two options in life.
Yes, they are now.
The weekend is so soon. I just want to get there. I will say that, and you guys know this, when you have to go buy the new bottle of something, it's always the worst. Right. Like my shampoo and conditioner is, mid-level expensive, and I will eke out the last little bit of it because you just hate to have to go and do it. And avocado mayonnaise costs more than regular mayonnaise. It was a little deceiving to do it that way, but I think if you're going to make the argument to the American people right now that actually food doesn't cost that much, they are going to laugh in your face because that is not their experience. Go back to the burrito debate, which ended in the vice president calling our colleague fat, that stuff is too expensive.
Where is this debate happening? This is the other thing about affordability that requires context. Most of these debates are in people who live in New York City, in Los Angeles, or San Francisco. Prices vary state by state, city by city.
We're having
but we
to
don't. But we
ship
never
in
talk about
beef.
that.
The president just said today, the cost of ground beef. What's it up to? Oh, I don't know. It's like Josh Turek. It's a Josh Turek question.
What is it? Tell me.
Well, listen, there are two affordability issues you always hear about. It's food and it's health care. And we were told, by the way, that health care from Obamacare was going to be solved forever. Yeah, you never hear that when they talk about the affordability issue, and it's just obviously obviated for one reason. Real quick here. The definition of insanity, if it is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome, CNN has achieved it and then some. They're certifiable. There's a reason they get buried in the ratings. Guys, we're not that stupid. How could they think this was going to fly? Let's look at the people. Collectively, there is decades of journalistic experience involved in this thing. The guy that did it, Tom Foreman, he's got an Emmy. And yet during Obama's entire first term, this guy wrote a letter to Obama every day. Look it up. Every single day, that guy wrote a letter to Obama. All right, so this is what you're dealing with. Guy's got an Emmy. He did that. A child could see how disingenuous this is. Erin Burnett, who smiled through this whole thing because she was apparently the anchor for the whole thing. She's making $7 million a year. That's the journalism that they're pushing on us, and we're not supposed to notice it? Are you kidding me? Now, look, by the metric that they used there, extend it. What about the cost of the electricity? What about the cost of buying the house that the stove is in? What about the guy that had to go out and catch the salmon and then process it? You can never end with this thing. Everybody sees what they're doing. The way this should have gone is traditional kind of journalism. Take it and look at it compared to what a similar meal would have cost 3 years ago. Because we know what you're trying to do. We understand the metric you're trying to set up, but you can't do that because inflation was so bad under Biden that wouldn't have worked. And that's why they did it the way they did. That's the worst kind of journalism. I don't know how they didn't expect to get caught.
I just can't believe that guy has an Emmy and I don't have an Emmy. Why don't I have an Emmy? That's what people want to know.
You're universally reviled.
Only on this show. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.